No, come on, are you serious? Sorry, I was just watching the replay again when my perfect 2-0 scoreline from previews and predictions last week for the Leicester-Liverpool game got ruined because Liverpool's goalkeeper, not named Karius or Mignolet, tried to be Ronaldinho when the ball got played back to him and he got stripped, and Leicester scored to make it 2-1 when it shouldn't have been 2-1, it should have been 2-0, I had it! Damn you, Allison. Anyway, I'm at one of my best friend's house in LA because we did our annual fantasy NFL football draft. This is close to our 20th year doing it, so it is high stakes, and I've only won it once. So yes, I know Coach Jimmy needs to get it together and win another one this season. I get it. Get off my back. But whatever, that's a conversation for another time, as is the room he let me shoot in. Unless you're into Pokemon. So let's do this. It is the Weekend and Rewind, and it is going to be a good one. And we're starting with Bad Weekend, Allison. Because not only did he cost me my perfect prediction, and yes, I'm still gonna be bitter about it for quite some time, he also lost his shutout streak to start a season, but I suppose that ultimately pales in comparison to Liverpool winning their first 4 games in the league for the first time since 1990. Good weekend, Pedro. The 31-year-old who looks like he's 13 came off the bench, which I think he was pretty pissed about not starting, to score the game-winning goal against Bournemouth to keep Chelsea perfect in the league to start the season. Also, fun fact for you, Pedro has 3 league goals in these first 4 games, and last season he had 4 goals in 31 league games, which I'm now going to call the Maurizio Sarri effect, or the direct opposite of whatever West Ham manager Manuel Pellegrini is doing. Good weekend, bad weekend, Kylian Mbappe. The good? The French teenager scored the game-winning goal against Nîmes with an incredible run behind the defense, then an incredible first touch, and then some incredible composure before an incredible finish to seal the 3 points for PSG, and it's just a ridiculous sequence, and he makes the game look so easy, and he's only 19. Which doesn't feel fair. And let's be honest with ourselves, the dude is winning a Ballon d'Or soon. The bad? After getting hacked down in midfield in injury time, he lost his cool, immediately got up, pushed the guy that got him, and got himself a straight red card. And again, let's be honest with ourselves, he's gonna have to keep it cool at all times if he wants to win a Ballon d'Or. Bad weekend, Cristiano Ronaldo. With I'm sure him putting more pressure on himself than anyone else could, he could still not find the back of the net again this weekend to notch his first ever goal for his new club and Juventus' 2-1 win over Parma, which gives Juve 3 wins out of 3 to start the Serie A season. Fun fact out of this game though, former Arsenal great Gervinho is still alive. I had no idea he was still around and that he was still playing, but he is, and he scored Parma's only goal. Anyway, back to Ronaldo. I'm sure he's literally in the gym right now to make sure he scores as soon as possible, and that's what I love about him. He uses hard work to fight through adversity. Good weekend, Heung-min Son. A little over 2 months after getting knocked out of the World Cup in the group stages, South Korea's captain led his country to the gold medal in the Asian Games with a 2-1 win over Japan in the final, which is a fantastic way to rebound from their previous disappointment from a team perspective, and a fantastic way to get out of military service from an individual perspective, because if Son had not won this game, he would have had to serve 2 years like every other South Korean male who's between the age of 18 to 35. Now, I'm sure they would have found a way for him to dodge his civic duty anyway, but winning this tournament made it a lot more dramatic. Bad weekend, Memphis Depay. Not only did the Lyon striker and his team lose 1-0 at home to Nice this past weekend, which, by the way, congrats to Nice manager Patrick Vieira for his first win in Ligue 1, Memphis also had his house burglarized during the game, with the robbers taking over 1.5 million euros worth of his jewelry, watches, and other luxury items, which sucks. But then I read that he didn't have an alarm on his house, which what? You can't have that type of bling at your pad and then not have an alarm? I mean, you're asking for trouble. Good weekend, bad weekend. Arsenal manager Unai Emery. The good? He finally listened to me by starting Alexander Lacazette up high and then having Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang off of his shoulder, and of course it worked a terrific effect with each player scoring important goals in Arsenal's 3-2 win away from home over Cardiff. So at this very moment, I've decided not to be Emery out. Don't forget to hashtag it. The bad? He still continues to start Granit Xhaka over Lucas Torreira, and at this point, especially when another bad decision by Xhaka led to another goal, it defies logic. So I've decided to maybe still be Emery out until Torreira starts. Good weekend, a couple record breakers in MLS. And first up is the Seattle Sounders, who beat my former club Sporting Kansas City 3-1 to win their 8th consecutive league game, which is the longest streak in MLS history, but it still keeps them in 5th place in the Western Conference, which just goes to show you how bad their start was. But anyway, congrats to them. And next is Real Salt Lake, who are the first team in MLS history to score 6 goals in back-to-back games. Last week they put 6 past Tim Howard and the Colorado Rapids, And this week they put 6 on Zlatan and the LA Galaxy, which still only gives them a +2 goal difference, which just goes to show you how many goals they weren't scoring. But anyway, congrats to them. Bad weekend. Atletico Madrid. After their captain Diego Godin did a type of slip that Steven Gerrard would be proud of, which led to a goal for Celta Vigo, which gave Celta the 1-0 lead. There's only one team on the field that was going to win after that, and they weren't wearing the red and white stripes, as Celta cruised to a comfortable 2-0 win. To make matters worse for Atleti, their crosstown rivals Real Madrid won again, this time 4-1 over Leganes, which saw Gareth Bale score again for the 7th straight game, and which saw Karim Benzema score a brace again and for the 2nd straight game, and which saw Sergio Ramos score a penalty again and for the 2nd straight game. So Madrid are cruising, but I'll admit it was a little weird to see Keylor Navas walk out before the game to show off his new UEFA Goalkeeper of the Year award with the other recently named award winners, that was Sergio Ramos and Luka Modric, and then he didn't start because Thibaut Courtois was starting instead. And I mean, what else can Navas do to remain the #1 besides being named UEFA Goalkeeper of the Year? Good weekend, both Milan clubs. After they both embarrassingly gave up 2-goal leads last week to drop some very valuable points, they both totally redeemed themselves this weekend as Inter went to Bologna without their captain Mauro Icardi available due to an injury. I think he did it the day before the game started, and still won 3-0, including the game winner by the Ninja, Raja Nainggolan, who scored on his debut for the club because that's what that guy does. He's a stud. While AC Milan, who hosted Roma, got a 95th minute goal from super sub Patrick Cutrone to get a huge 2-1 win in front of their faithful supporters at the San Siro. And the best part about the scoreline is that I nailed it from previews and predictions. I said 2-1 and they won 2-1, which proves I'm the GOAT at predictions. Unless Allison is playing. Bad weekend. West Ham. Okay, let's do the math here. Over 100 million spent on new players over the summer and on a new Premier League winning manager to take over for Sir David Moyes equals 4 league games, 4 losses, 2 goals scored, 10 against, and a spot on the bottom of the table, which is the 2nd time in their history that they've lost their first 4 league games of the season. And in fact, the last time that happened in the 2010-2011 season, they got relegated. So I'd be really surprised if they haven't contacted Big Sam Allardyce about his availability. Good weekend, bad weekend. DeAndre Yedlin. The good? The American international scored his first ever goal in the Premier League against the defending league champions, Manchester City. The bad? He plays for Newcastle, so as we've come to expect, they ended up losing 2-1. The good? He's the first American to score in the Premier League since 2014, so it had been a while for us Americans, so I'm really proud of him. The bad? The transfer window is officially closed now, so he can't leave Newcastle until January. The good? I got nothing else to add. The bad? That I have nothing else to add. Good weekend, Robert Lewandowski. And I'm not singling him out because he scored again in Bayern Munich's comprehensive 3-0 win away from home against Stuttgart, which is his 6th goal in 4 games this season, and the 4th consecutive season where he has scored goals in his first 2 league games, which is incredibly impressive, by the way. No, it's a ridiculous backheel assist he gave Thomas Muller for the 3rd goal in this game. I don't think I've seen a better assist all season, so we'll put the link of it in the description because you have to see it. Bad weekend, Rafa Marquez. Because ever since he took over as the president of Atlas and Liga MX, where he promised the club was going to be more like Barcelona moving forward, Atlas are the worst team in the Mexican League this season, and the only team to have not won any games this season as well, with 0 wins, 2 draws, and 6 losses, which included their 3-1 loss to Tigres this weekend. So, no mames way, Rafa. Way to go with that. We're gonna play like Barcelona jinx. Always the kiss of death to say stuff like that. Good weekend, Gabigol. Do you remember him? He was the biggest thing to come out of the Brazilian club Santos since Neymar, which prompted Inter Milan to pay 30 million for him 2 years ago. But since then, he went on loan to Benfica last season, and now he's back at Santos, where he just scored a hat-trick this weekend away from home over Vasco da Gama to help Santos win their 3rd straight game and jump to 9th in the table, only 8 points behind that last spot for the Copa Libertadores. Also, I guess we'll see if he ever gets back to Europe, because he's got some talent, but didn't do very well over there. Bad weekend, Huesca. The cool, refreshing drink of a club made the big mistake of scoring first in the Camp Nou because Barcelona came back and put 8 on them in their 8-2 win, which saw Messi destroy the confidence of some defenders like he usually does with his 2 goals and an assist, which keeps Barca level with Real Madrid on top of the table. Also, it should be noted that Barca got a penalty in injury time, and instead of taking it and getting his hat-trick, Messi let Luis Suarez take it, and that is pretty f***ing cool, and I'm not sure his main rival would do the same. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Good weekend, Watford. They're winning the league. They're winning the league. They're Watford FC and they're winning the league. Is that how it's supposed to sound? Well, the Hornets won their first 4 league games of the season for the first time in their history with their come-from-behind 2-1 victory over a previously pretty hot Spurs team, which makes them an unlikely name at the top of the table with Liverpool and Chelsea. So, are they pulling off the Leicester City miracle this year? Is Troy Deeney the Jamie Vardy in all of this? Is Roberto Pereira Riyad Mahrez? Is Doucouré the new Conte? Is Ben Foster Kasper Schmeichel? Okay, probably not. But I do think it makes any league a lot more interesting when a team you don't expect to do well starts playing out of their minds. Sort of like Dijon in France, Huesca in Spain, Wolfsburg in Germany, and Fiorentina in Italy. Bad weekend. Bayer Leverkusen, Schalke, and RB Leipzig. Because all 3 of these German clubs are off to a Scheißer start to their season. Leverkusen gave up 4 goals to a rejuvenated Wolfsburg to lose 4-2 at home. Schalke have been unwatchable for their 180 minutes in league play this season, which included their 2-0 loss at home to Hertha Berlin. And RB Leipzig drew 1-1 at home with recently promoted Fortuna Dusseldorf, who are a club that I predicted to get relegated this season. And as we all know in the Bundesliga, if you drop any points in the German top division, then you're gonna finish behind Bayern Munich, so it sucks. I feel like for these 3 clubs, since they have to know that they've lost the title already. Lucky ass weekend. Marseille's manager, Rudy Garcia, because he took the risk of not starting Florian Thauvin away from home against Monaco, and we could argue it worked against him and the team because Marseille were down 2-1 in the 60th minute. However, Garcia was smart enough to finally bring Thauvin on a few minutes later, and in the 74th minute, Thauvin scored the game-tying goal. And then Garcia brought on former Monaco striker Valery Germain in the 88th minute, and 1 minute later, Germain scored the game winner to help Marseille beat his former club 3-2, which made Garcia look like a goddamn genius, but we all know he just got lucky. Bad weekend, River Plate. Because one of the most famous clubs in all of South America is having an absolute shocker to start their new season in Argentina with 4 draws in 4 games and only 1 goal scored in those 4 games, which might make them the current holders as the most boring AF team in the world right now. Good weekend, Joaquin. The Real Betis legend came off the bench in the 75th minute of the hotly contested derby between Betis and Sevilla, which again proved how testy it can get since this one had 9 yellow cards and 1 red. And 5 minutes later, Joaquin scored the only goal to help Betis secure 3 huge points and bragging rights in the city of Seville. Well, he also became the oldest player at 37 years old to ever score a goal in this derby, which has to automatically confirm his legendary status. Good weekend, bad weekend, Galatasaray. And we're gonna start with the bad first. After starting the season with 3 straight wins in Turkey, which extended their 9-game unbeaten streak starting from the end of last season, the defending Turkish Super League champions got embarrassed away from home 4-0 to Trabzonspor to lose their top spot in the league. The good? Their biggest rivals Fenerbahce gave up the lead twice to lose 3-2 at home to Kayserispor. I'm trying. While their other biggest rival Besiktas gave up a 1-0 lead in the 86th minute to draw 1-1, so they gotta be feeling pretty good about that and pretty lucky overall. Bad weekend, Napoli. After coming from behind in their first 2 league games of the season against decent opposition, they beat Lazio away from home 2-1 in matchday 1 and came back from 2 goals down to beat AC Milan last week. They couldn't figure out a way to come back from 3 goals down to beat the very up for it Sampdoria, who got their first win of their season and their first win against Napoli for the first time in 8 years. And they did it in a very exciting fashion because did you see Fabio Quagliarella's back heel goal? Quagliarella trying. It's better than Lewandowski's assist is what I wanted to say, if only because it's scored, but it's almost a carbon copy of the same move. Also, do I have any Sampdoria supporters watching? Because if I do, I really want to know if you think your team is for real this season. And the same thing for Fiorentina. They are flying to start and look full of confidence with their 1-0 win over Udinese this weekend. So I need everyone to keep an eye on both of these squads because I think they can do some damage this season. Good weekend, bad weekend, Romelu Lukaku. The good? The Belgian international secured 3 valuable points for Manchester United by scoring both goals in the Red Devils' 2-0 win away from home over a not anywhere near as good as they were last season, Burnley. But 3 points is 3 points is 3 points. Also, with these 2 goals, Lukaku moved into a tie with his hero Didier Drogba for goals in the Premier League. They both have 104 each. But Lukaku reached his goal-scoring number in 30 less games than Drogba, and he's only 25 years old. Drogba scored his last competitive goal for Chelsea at the age of 37, so maybe we should all give Lukaku a little more respect. The bad? He should have scored 5 goals against Burnley. That's how many chances he had, and this is why I feel like he doesn't get the respect that he should, because he doesn't score all the goals that he should. Bad weekend, Rangers. Despite the positivity and progression within the club since Steven Gerrard's arrival as manager, and despite Gerrard's pleas about his player getting fouled before their bitter rivals Celtics scored on a lovely counterattack, which ended up as the game winner in Celtic's 1-0 win in the Old Firm derby. Rangers were outclassed for most of the game, and I think it showed just how big of a gap there still exists between the two sides. Also, it dropped Rangers into 7th in the table, 4 points behind Celtic and 7 points behind league leaders Hearts, which means Rangers' chances of winning the title are pretty much over. Sorry, guys. And finally, good weekend! The winners of the Warm Baller starter kits, who correctly predicted the right score for Leicester versus Liverpool, and there were a lot of you, so again, I apologize if you didn't win, but because I'm nice, I'll give you a chance to try to win again this upcoming week. And the two winners are, I'm going with two because I only have so many shirts left, Alex Zukowski and Cheddar Uchiha. I hope I did that right. Anyway, I'll be reaching out to both of you very soon, so congrats. And all right, that is it. That is all I got. So thank you for watching, and be on the lookout for my preview of the Champions League group stages dropping soon. I mean, really soon. Later.